Hey everyone, I'm going to make another video where I'm going to take this Lego guy that we modeled inside of 3D Coat and UV the character and push this character into the painting space, and we'll go ahead and add some material and textures on this character. So to continue, here we've got the model, and now we want to begin the UV process. And something that might be helpful, if you don't already know this, is that there's an opacity slider here for the display of the mesh inside the modeling room. And what you're going to notice is whatever is highlighted will become fully opaque, and then what's not highlighted has this transparency level applied to it. If you don't like that and you want to see everything opaque, like you might see in something like another third-party modeling package, you can do that, and you can simply do that by raising the opacity from 100 to 200. The reason it looks the way it does is because whatever is highlighted in the material in the layer gets 100%, and everything outside of that layer will get 50%. So if you set this value, the opacity, to 200, then anything selected will be fully opaque, and anything not selected will be at 100%, which will also be opaque. So it's just another way of just making everything opaque. It would be really nice if this slider didn't just stop at 100, but it actually either continued to 200, or there was a little button that said apply to all or something like that. So anyway, I like to work at the 200 so I can see everything opaque. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the UV process. You can UV two different ways. You can UV inside the modeling room through the UV section here, or you can go through the process of sending this character to the UV room, which you're going to have pretty much the same set of tools. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the UVs in the modeling room, and later I can go through the process of just sending that directly to the UV space, because if I were to switch now to UVs, you'll see that nothing shows up. Okay, so let's get back to the modeling room, and let's begin some of the UV process. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is start hiding things that we're not UVing. So I'll start off by UVing the body. So if you go to the layer for the body and you hold Alt and click on this eye, it'll isolate that layer. So now we've got this layer here, and we want to start creating some cuts. So we have the mark seams, and if you hover over an edge, you'll see that it highlights that edge, and if you click on it, it will automatically cut that edge. But if you want to select the edge loop, if you hold Shift, it'll select that entire edge loop. An example would be if I go to this one right here and click and hold Shift, you'll see that it continues all the way around. But if I hover over this edge, it's just going to stop right there, and it might have something to do with the three edges all coming together. So let's go ahead and start cutting this. So I'll just click, do the same, click, the same here, left mouse button click, and we'll do the same here. Cut the back as well. There we go. And the reason I wanted to get the front and back separate is because I did find some cool little, let me show you, some cool textures that were created, and they've got the front and back already separated. So that's why I'm doing it that way and not just unwrapping it all as a single pelt. Okay, and at this point, what we can do with this will be just we can cut it in one spot. And if we hover our cursor over these sections, you'll see that off into this UV preview that it's showing it all opened up. It's unwrapped already. Okay. If you, by any chance, in the modeling room don't have a UV preview, you can always grab that by going to the Windows panel and choose the UV preview, and that'll open up a window, and then you can just dock it into your interface wherever it makes sense. All right, and the other thing I like to do, by the way, is I like to just go ahead and unwrap it right from here. So I'll just hit unwrap. And then what you're going to notice is it's going to unwrap everything in this one UV space, even the things that are hidden. I kind of wish it didn't do that, but it's doing it. And one way around it is to create another UV set. So under this default, you can create a new UV set, and we'll give it a name like not UV'd. And this could be where you might want to place all the objects that are that have not already been UV'd. So we'll go ahead and do that now. I'll switch this over to the select mode, and I'll just move the ones that we just did UV right now off to the side. And let's see if we just as an example, once you have some UV selected, you can say move to not UV'd, and it'll move all of them there. Let's just go ahead and I'll select them manually. I'm doing this by holding shift and just kind of clicking on each island. And by the way, I'm using a brush tip and not the marquee. The marquee I'm having trouble with at the moment. This definitely was working prior, so it could just be a version update. It's not a big deal at all. So we'll just go ahead and now select this, and we'll move these over to the not UV'd section, and I'll just do the same here. Great. Okay. Now we can just go ahead and hit unwrap again. Oops. And get that into that UV space. Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and do the body skirt, which is this bottom half. Same kind of deal. I'll go ahead and hide the body, and I'll just start cutting this. That's going to, we're going to see that over in the not UV'd section. That's it right there. So we'll just go ahead and start cutting this up. I'll hold shift, and let's go ahead and cut this top section. We'll do the same for the bottom. Like so. And then we have a front and back. And again, because the textures that I'm using has a front and back to it, I'm just going to keep that consistent. Otherwise, I would normally just unwrap that as a single pelt, but I just want to be able to use those textures, so I'm just preparing for that. Okay, so now that we have that set up, if I were to select this object, we'll go ahead and use the marquee now. You can see that it highlighted it, and now I'll just go ahead and move that to the default. And so now I'm going to go ahead and just unwrap it. Unwrap. And there we go. What's the next one? Let's see. Got the body skirt. And let's go ahead and do the legs. Actually, both legs are on one layer. I was intending to separate them, but I just went ahead and put them on one. So we'll just say legs for this layer. And let's go ahead and hide the body of the skirt. Now here I might want to turn symmetry on. And I'm gonna just make sure, actually I think they are already symmetrical, so we'll just go ahead and start splitting these. Like so. Yeah, it looks like it worked. And like so. And then we'll just split the top, and the bottom will be its own. Like so. Perfect. So now let's go ahead and grab those from the not UV'd section. And move them to UV'd, to default. And let's go ahead and unwrap. All right, so far we have the body, the skirt, and the legs unwrapped. this is this in between legs separator piece. I'll go ahead and just do that really quick. This actually doesn't have any texture on it, it's just a color. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and delete the one edge off of the side there, and that'll allow me to unwrap it like so. So now we'll go ahead and just grab that and move it to default. It's kind of nice. I actually don't need to switch this at all. I can just say move this selected into this UV space. So now just go ahead and unwrap, and it just added it right there. All right. Great. All right, I think the next we'll just go ahead and do the head and the head button and the neck. Those are going to be the next three that we're going to tackle. So I'll go ahead and turn those off. And let's go ahead and work with this. So let's hide the head. And I'll just do these two really quick. So, and we'll cut the seam in the back. And we'll do the same with this guy. Go ahead and just cut the top and the bottom. And then the seam in the back. All right, so let's go ahead and grab these guys and move them to the default. And unwrap. All right. Next, we'll go ahead and deal with the arms. How do we want to tackle the arms? Okay. We're definitely going to want to split this section off. Yep. All right. Symmetry is on. And this is actually not even seen, so I'll just go ahead and cut that bottom part off. And then we'll go ahead and split it right from the bottom. Great. Yep. Now we got to split the arm itself. And what is the best way to do this? I guess we can just do it right down the center like this. And that gives us a pretty decent flattening. Yep. All right, so let's go ahead and grab these guys and move them to our UV space. Unwrap. Now we got our arms, and what's left? The grips. Okay, these should be pretty easy. We'll do the same, like so. Like so, and then we'll split it. And here what we can do, maybe we'll just keep the top and bottom connected. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete one of the cuts on the edges here, and then that'll keep them together like so. Perfect. All right, again, select and move to default and unwrap. All right. Okay, so that's the character, and all that's left now is to do this platform. So we'll go ahead and do the platform first. All right. I think I'm going to make a new UV set for just the platform. Oh, actually, we'll just use the not UV'd, since that's going to be all that it is the platform. So we'll just go ahead and just unwrap now. All right, and now let's just go ahead and do the buttons. This will be a little bit more tedious, I think, but one way I could have handled this would have been to clone all of these. Then I could have just UV'd one of them and would have gotten all of them for free. But I didn't do that. I didn't use the instancing feature. But in any case, let's just go ahead and cut it. Where do I want to do this? I guess it really doesn't matter. I'll just do it from here. Okay. Oh good, I did mirror it, so at least we're getting the other half in this process. Oops, not that. There we go. Honestly, you can be pretty loose with this. It's just going to be a color, so it's not like we need to worry about texture, stretching, or alignment across the edges or anything like that. But my OCD kicks in, and I think I missed this one, yeah. And there we go. Great. Okay, all that's left now is we want to be able to unwrap this. So now we have to create a seam, and I'll just go ahead and continue from here. So a seam across these, and that will automatically unwrap them. All right, now let's go ahead and unwrap. Okay, I missed something here. Let's see what I missed. Oh, did I not do the head? Or is this extra? Let's see. Okay, I guess I forgot to do the head. So let's do the head now. We'll switch this back over to default. And I think I'm going to split it from here and here. I'll just keep it like that. And now I'm going to split the back right there. Yeah, that'll be fine. So let's go ahead and select, oops. Let's go ahead and select this guy and move that to default and unwrap. All right, I think I have everything now. So we can show it all. Like that, everything looks UV'd. So we have the two different islands. And now I'm going to rename this island here. And we'll call this platform or base. And default we'll call character. Char. Excellent. Okay, now that we have that, what I want to do is I want to take a look at how it's being applied in the texture space. And we can do this. I have two different textures that I can go with. I can go with any of these, which are 256 by 256, or I can use this one, which is a much more high res. I'm guessing this is 2K. No, actually 1K by 1K. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and use one of these guys. They seem a little bit more complete. So we'll use this guy right here. So let's, if you don't use PureRef, it's amazing. It's really nice. So let's just go ahead and move some of these off to the side, and let's get this as a larger texture so we can lay this out properly. All right, I'm just going to move this off to the side. So in this image, we see the front, the back, the head, and I'm guessing these are just the legs. So I'm going to go ahead and separate those into their own island. So I will create a new UV set, and we'll call this one texture. And now I'm going to move all the things I need that should belong under the texture. There we go. My bad. Okay, go under the select mode, and if you select, you'll get the island. So that's this one, and I'm sure this is the back. We're just going to go ahead and move that to texture, and maybe spell it correctly would be nice. There we go. What else needs to go to texture? Go back to character. We need the head, so we'll go ahead and grab this, and that'll go to texture. And we need the legs, so that's going to be this guy. Yeah, this, and this. Okay, we'll send those to texture. Leave. That's it. Perfect. All right, so let's go to texture now. And let's unwrap those. Great. The reason everything looks like a square is because if you look under the UV settings, I have it set up to use the strip mode, which basically tries to create vertical and horizontal borders. So it creates this trapezoid, looks like a square. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck this and say OK, and then I'm going to re-unwrap. And now I'm getting the proper shape from the cut. What's interesting though is it looks like it cut this into two parts. So I'm going to fix that right now by Shift Control and click this edge. And now I'm going to unwrap again. There we go. I just basically removed that cut. Looks like there's a cut right here too. Oh no, that's not. Yeah, there is. I'm going to remove that. Again, Control, click. And I don't know, do I have extra cuts? I don't know where I got all these cuts from. Control, click. All right, I think that looks better. All right, so let me go ahead and unwrap one more time. All right, perfect. Okay, so now if I were to look at this, go ahead and make this bigger. I'm going to take the front, which is this direction here. That's the front. And I'm going to go ahead and rotate this guy. So I can hold Control. Oh no, sorry. I can right click on him and then I can make a rotation, and that's going to be 90-degree rotation, like so. And I'm going to move that to the front and take this guy and move him over. So let's move some of these guys out of the way, and let's just get these in some rough approximation of where it's going to land. Something like that. This is the head. The head will be down low. You can use this pack 2. There's a UV pack 2. That'll repack these, but it won't rotate anything. So it keeps everything in the same orientation. So this is better because now I can move these around. Now I know that the space for the body is going to be taking the maximum allowable space. So that works. Doesn't really matter where these guys are. And then I think what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to go ahead and just kind of find a place for them, like so. something like that. All right, excellent. So now that we're good, something you might want to do is hit this apply UV set. It will record all the changes that you've done. It should still work anyway, but I tend to do this. And now, how am I going to get this out of the model space into the paint space? The way you're going to do that is you're going to go over to bake. This one right here, yeah, retopo, per pixel painting, no baking. All this is doing is it's going to run through the process of taking everything and moving it into the space that the paint room can see it without baking any of the textural details into it. We're not trying to bake map detail. I'll just leave everything at 2K textures and say, okay, do I want to subdivide? I think it's nice to have a some level of the subdivision in there, so when we're rendering it, we can see it with subdivision. I'll just say okay. But when we export it, it'll still have the low poly. Like, we can still see the low poly. This is just visualizing it as a subdivided mesh. So you can see that's still low poly here. But now when I jump over to Paint Room, it's subdivided in my Paint Room. The reason I subdivided is because when I calculate occlusion, let me turn the symmetry off. When I calculate occlusion, it's going to calculate it on this subdivided mesh, and that's what I want. So let's just go ahead and do that right off the bat. We'll go ahead and just generate occlusion. Under Edit, Calculate Occlusion, and say OK. Okay. All right, so you'll see these jaggies. That's a result because when I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to redo that process again. So let's go back to the paint room, the modeling room. What I did when I baked this out, I'll show you. So retopo per pixel. I subdivided the model, which is fine, but I didn't smooth the UVs, which is why I have that that set in there. So if you intend to render with this subdivided, you might want to change this to smoothing. So let's just say smooth and keep edges. Let's see what happens. Say OK. Okay, and let's run the occlusion again. All right, that looks like it gave me what I wanted. Perfect. Okay, nice. All right, so now we have occlusion on our model. And the next step is, let's go ahead and start creating some simple material that we can then apply the textures to. Something that's really nice about 3D Coat, okay, we'll get rid of this axes, like so. And we'll just go ahead and start creating a material exactly just for this. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and create a new folder. We'll call this Lego Demo. And in here, we'll just go ahead and create a simple material where we're going to grab the color of the vest. So I will, oh nice, okay, I can just paint it, clip it in. So I'll copy this image and then there we go. So now I have it in my clipboard. I'll go ahead and pick this orange color, say OK, and I want to apply that to my character. And of course, I want to make sure that I have that shiny quality, which I do have some reference here of that level. So I'll try to get that kind of a quality with this. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to take this roughness and we're going to bring that way down. And we have to make sure that we're showing all of these up here. These are your filters. So if I turn glossiness off, of course it's flat. And displacement. Okay, so we don't want, we don't want depth. So we can just set depth to 0 here. And now we can go into roughness and see if we want it to be, just make sure we get it the way we want it. And the reason it looks a little dull, it might be a result of whatever your HDR map is that you have. So you can see now it looks super shiny. So let's just pick something that might give us a little bit more. Actually, I don't want any of those. Let me go to Studio. Oh, I see. Let me save this really quick. That probably was not letting me change the different tabs. There we go. So now I should be able to flip through. Yeah. So let's go to Studio and find something that might be a little bit more representative. Maybe this one. Or this actually would be good. Yeah, I think this is pretty good. Okay, so now we'll just go ahead and keep that, and we'll increase the size of this window. All right, let's see what we got. That might be a little too shiny, to be honest. So let's go ahead and click this material and make some adjustments. I think something like that is nice. Okay. Perfect. And we'll just go ahead and say save for right now. Next, we'll do the head and the hands. So let's go ahead and get our color picker back out. Image, and let's go ahead and load that clipboard image again. And so now we're going to go ahead and pick the yellow, and we'll create a new material. And now we'll have that yellow. I could have just cloned the orange and I would have had the same plastic material. Maybe I should have just done that actually, but I know the settings, so I'll just do that for now. Okay, and we'll go ahead and apply this to the head. That'll be for the head. I'll give it a name. Just say yellow, save. I should give these names. Orange, and that's saved. Next color that we're going to want is this blue for the legs. So let's go ahead and create that. And again, we'll just go ahead and take this guy, duplicate him, and now we'll pick this blue and give this a name. Let's see. Save. What's next? Okay, I think that's going to be fine for now. Let's go ahead and apply these. So now what we can do is we can take the yellow and we'll go ahead and hit fill, and we're going to fill. I don't like that alpha. It just makes it so difficult. Okay. Fill the head and neck. Like so. We said the hand. Oh, you know what? I don't think I added these. Oh, they're just a color. It doesn't matter. Oh, okay. So now we're at this point where this is a single object. I don't want to apply it like that. So how do you do that? So what's really nice about 3D Coat is we can go to the brush and we can choose to do this thing. If you hit the E key, you'll get this menu, or you can just choose it from here as well. But you can go to this, which is called the polygon fill. So now that I have that, you can see that it highlights the polygons. So now I can just kind of apply it based on the polygons. I find that to be actually really slick. This just means that I don't have to split my model up in any way just because I want to throw some material on there, and I don't have to create a mask. All right, so we got that guy. And I could have just had symmetry on and I would have been done, but you know. Cool. All right, we got that guy. Perfect. The sleeves. What are we going to do for the sleeves? I'm guessing we're just going to use that orange color. So let's go ahead and click on orange and start applying that to the sleeves. This I don't need to do it this way. I'll just go back to the fill. Oh, actually, no, I'll take that back. I will do it this way because I don't want to clobber the yellow. It might be easier just to go ahead and hide some of the body parts. I'll just hide the actual body and maybe turn off the occlusion. I'm not sure why I have 2 levels of occlusion. I was wondering why it looks so dark. Okay, so that's good. Let's just go ahead and fill this in. All right. And really, I should be utilizing my layers, but I'm not. I'm not showing you guys good practice at all. So just bear with me. Yeah, I normally spend my time like making sure I have everything prepped before I get going, but I think because I'm recording this video, I'm also kind of rushing a little bit, and when I'm talking, I'm not really concentrating so much on what I'm doing. So forgive me when I'm missing some things here and there, but I'm hoping what you're getting out of this is the different tool sets that you can use and how you can move things around from one workspace to another workspace. Oh, that was an accident. Let's go back. All right. I got it. Perfect. All right, let's get that body back in there like so. And let's see, let's do the legs really quick. And those I can do a flood fill. So we'll just go back to fill and grab the blue material. Yes. Okay. And we'll just go ahead and start, oops. And I'll just go ahead and apply. To me, this blue looks darker than the blue that I'm looking at in the image, so I'm not exactly sure why that is, but let's go ahead and do that. And also, I believe, based on this reference picture, that's part of, that kind of works with this. And I believe the way the UVs are set up for this is not taking into account that lower part, so I'll just go ahead and keep that with whatever the pants is. Yeah, it definitely is not looking like this. I don't understand why that is the case. I think I'm going to adjust this color again. Let's try this. A little closer. This feels a little too shiny, I'll be honest. I'm going to go ahead and take down some of that roughness. Or, yeah. All right. And then we'll go ahead and I'll save that. Go ahead and take this orange, and I'm going to apply that to the sides because the texture is just a projection for the front and the back. So again, I'll use the brush tool, and with the polygon tool, I'll just go ahead and actually, let's do something a little different. We'll go back to the fill, and we'll take a look at the texture editor, and then we'll just fill these areas. So these are going to be in the texture area. Oh, actually, they're not. They're going to be under the char. And where are they? The sides. Let's look at the wire. Oh, right here. So we can just click on that, and you can see that I just filled that section because I filled the UV for it. Cool. And I'll go ahead and fill the UV for the for these guys initially, just to have the color in there. And now we've got our guy. But now let's start to add the textures to this. Now the fun stuff. Okay, let's close that. And now let's get our projection tools. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to go to the brush. Going to get our material. And we're going to change it from cube to UV map. And we're going to add this, this UV texture to it. The only thing is I need to write that out. So let's, actually I think I do have it already. Let me do this. All right, cool. So now we've got that. We'll do from camera. Oops. There we go. Let's rotate. Something if you don't already know, if you hold Control down and you go to rotate, it'll rotate at different increments. So right now I've got it rotating at 30-degree increments. And so I'm just basically adjusting this guy so I can get it in the same orientation. And now I'm going to scale this. So this is the scale. I'll click and scale this guy up. And we should actually go into orthographic and make sure that we're looking directly straight ahead. And let's see, make it larger. If you right click on this, I'm sorry, if you click on this guy, right click on that little thing, it'll open up this menu. If you right click on it again, it'll close it. But you can click on this right here, this like move transform. It'll allow you to put this anywhere that makes sense to you. The reason I want to move this to here, right in the center, is because now when I go to scale, it's going to scale based off of that point. So there we go. And let's move this around. Okay, cool. So now what we can do is go ahead and apply this texture and just let's see how it works out. I'll go ahead and just right click on this just so I don't accidentally move anything or scale anything. We'll take the brush tool right here and we can actually paint and project. So we don't want the polygon anymore. I think what we want to do is go ahead and just apply it like this. And let's see how this works out. Here's another tip. If you make sure that you have this on connective picking and not volume based, it'll stay within the area that the center of the crosshairs are in that brush. So even though my brush is beyond the edge, it won't paint on anything until, I'm going to go ahead and do it, until I cross my center cursor onto that next mesh. And because of that, it means that I can go pretty quick around the edges and making sure I got everything without contaminating any of the other surfaces. So let's take a look at how that looks. So we can hide it. And yeah, boy, you know what? I'll tell you, it looks kind of dark. And I'm not exactly sure if that's because of the ACES color space or if... Let me see if I just flip my HDR around. No, it looks like it is set. Okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and assume that's okay. And you can see that my texture filled in here as well. The next time, now we're going to do the back. Oh, look, I did get a little bit over here actually. Oh, that's all right. That's easy to fix. And now what I'm going to do is for the back half, I'm going to do a similar thing. Let's go ahead and show this. And let's go ahead and oops. Oh, I have it on auto. It was driving me crazy why it was disappearing. There we go. I'll go ahead and get this guy set up. So we'll go ahead and move this right about the center here and scale this appropriately. Like that. I think that's okay. So maybe what we can do here is now that that's aligned, let's just click and see if it fills this texture. Like that. There we go. So that's a really nice way to do it too, so you're not brushing anything on. And I believe by doing that, I'm going to close this panel. I think by doing it this way, I didn't get any overspill like I did with the brush. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and duplicate the shader. And on that duplicate, I'm going to go ahead and remove this texture and save that as orange plain. Oops, yep, that was my mistake. And make that cube map. Save. All right, cool. So now what I want to do here, and why do I keep doing that? Okay, what I want to do here is, let's get rid of this. I'm going to fill this UV strip, which is right here, like so. All right, next we'll go ahead and do the face. So again, we'll look directly at him. And let's go ahead and get our texture palette. And this guy's flipped around, but you know what? It really doesn't matter anymore because we're just going to go ahead and apply that as a texture. Oops, my bad, done. Okay, we'll take this guy. And, oh yes, and make this from camera, like so. And I'm gonna save him. We'll call this yellow texture, say okay, and save as new. So there we go. And from camera, so let's okay, I'm going to turn them around, control, and rotate. One more. There we go. And I guess we'll put it right around the center, right there. Should I make it bigger? Let's make it bigger. Like so. Cool. And so now what we can do is go back to the texture editor and we can just fill that by clicking right there. What you're going to see also is that, let's go ahead and close this, is that you're going to probably see some, there we go, he's on the back as well. And I'm going to just go ahead and erase that. So we'll use this guy as the texture. And I'm gonna go ahead and just brush that off to here. And what we have to do is remove the texture from him, change that to cube map, save, and we can close this. And now we're just gonna go ahead and use the brush and paint that texture. Oh, wait a minute, why? I guess it isn't, I thought it was a yellow texture. So if I were to fill the head, yeah, it's got like this orange color when it should be yellow. All right, let's get rid of that and try that again. He's yellow. Oh, of course. Okay, so if you're gonna add a texture, something to make note of is you might want this to be set to white. I'm assuming this is the problem I'm running into. So we'll just turn that to white, like that. And now when we add a texture, I'm hoping that this, yeah, that was the problem. All right, so let's go back to from camera. We're gonna go ahead and rotate this again, like so. Place them where we need them. Like that, and fill. There we go, that looks better. Definitely gonna have to erase some of that stuff out, and we can do that fairly quickly. So let me just save this. And then I can reopen this up, change that to cube map, and delete this, and we'll just pick the color from here. The difference is I'm not going to save that texture. I'm just going to use that just to paint this out. So I'll change that to a hard brush, like this. Oops. Actually, maybe this. And I can paint it out like so. Cool. And then I can cancel. And close. All right. No, great. And then like for the base, we can just throw a color on that. I'm just going to create a new layer. Should have done that a long time ago. But maybe for the base, we'll just pick another color. Let's duplicate. And we'll make it green. And then we'll just fill. Like so. Perspective, close that, perspective. And let's take a look at the occlusion now. There we go. Cool. All right, let's see what it looks like. Oh, because I have these colors, let's go ahead and just delete those. And let's see what it looks like without the occlusion, actually. Sometimes the occlusion, you know, like when you're rendering, you don't really need it because the renderer is automatically applying occlusion for you. It's just part of the GI. Unless you want occlusion baked into your texture. In this case, it actually doesn't help. Cool. Well, there's that's how we modeled them. That's how we UV'd the character and applied a texture to that character, and then got them into the paint room where we applied everything and then finally got to see it rendered. Well, I hope this was helpful to you, and have fun with it. And thanks for watching.